What's poppin', people? It is your boy Zero, aka Black Natsuki Subaru, and today we're here with another ReZero chapter read. Now, I kind of fucked up. I accidentally posted 36 instead of 35. Thanks for let me know in the comments, because I cooked. So I privated the video, but I'm gonna make it live again tomorrow, because today, as of me recording this, I just uploaded 35 properly. So yeah, that was kind of cooked, but I've been trying so hard not to get spoiled, dude, because people keep specifically my boy Light Novel Historian keeps posting fucking shorts about the novel, and I'm not caught up yet. So I'm just like, damn it, I like looking at the boy's content, but I can't even shit. Anyway, you guys know how this goes. If you guys enjoy this video, if you enjoy what I do when it comes to just making the ReZero content, stuff like this, leave a like, share it with your homies. Also, drop down in the comments some ideas if you guys want me to do different types of ReZero content. What do you want me to cover? Because I'll do all that shit. Dude, I glaze ReZero. I will watch any type of video you guys want me to see. I'll comment on any type. Dude, just let me know. Just let me know. Because I do got some stuff in the works. Gotta wait though. Anyway, yeah, so we're gonna jump into ReZero Arc 9 Chapter 37 Mindset. I'm bricked up, you're bricked up. Let's be bricked up in unison as we read peak fiction. So, it's gonna jump right on into it. Nonetheless, Subaru's decision was not entirely without merit. Please, I humbly request you handle Ao-sama. Who is this talking? Oh, it's Schultz. And the one who said that, bowing their slightly curly pink crown of hair, was Schultz, Priscilla Burial's servant and loyal vassal who had been carefully protected by her. I love Schultz, dude. Hold on, let me pull up a... this little kid is so adorable. Oh, wait. I don't want any spoilers. Look at him. He's so precious. Oh wait, y'all can't see it. Hold on. Look at little Schultz. Look at him. He's adorable. Okay, I had to gush for a second. That's my boy. I fucking love Schultz. Anyway. Though still a child, Schultz was astute and determined to be strong. Despite the enormous shock of Priscilla's death, he desperately tried to support himself with his own delicate legs, determined not to dishonor the name of his late master. Schultz was also close to Ao, and had been deeply concerned about his trauma. Subaru's consideration for Ao went a long way in winning Schultz's trust. Okay. Making a favorable impression on Schultz and earning the gratitude of the Amelia camp would be a huge advantage in the upcoming royal selection, particularly in dealing with the now vacant Burial domain. When the royal selection began, Amelia and Priscilla became rivals, but they come to respect each other through mutual acceptance and became close friends. Dude, Arc 8 was so good. It was so good, chat. Damn it. Oh, dude, I cried when Priscilla died, dude. That shit was fucking, that shit cut deep. Anyway, where? Yeah. When Priscilla passed away, Amelia took on her legacy and supported the people of the Burial domain who had been under her protection. Schultz, who was deeply loved by Priscilla, was essential to this. Amelia also promised that she wanted to be friends with Priscilla after the royal selection. So some embellishment was just article license. What? Wait, artistic license. What? Hence, Roswaal reluctantly sent Subaru and the others to the Pleiades watchtower and chose to accompany Schultz back to the burial domain. However, that had been a mistake. Subaru-sama and the others. Then, what about Garf? What happened to Garf? Garf went with them to protect Subaru-sama and the others. Unfortunately, Garfield was defeated by Aldebaran's schemes and suffered serious injuries. He fainted. We had hoped that the effects of the divine protection of Earth spirits would take effect, but the fact that he was injured in the Argius sand dunes, a region filled with miasma, proved harmful, and its effects were less than expected. Garf. Oh! That's Roswaal talking? As Roswaal pondered, oh wait, no, this is Frederica. As Roswaal pondered, Frederica, who had accompanied him to the burial domain, overheard Klein talking about Garfield's condition when he was with Subaru and the others, and looked down in regret. Her expression did not show disappointment or dismay at Garf's failure to fulfill his expected role, but rather a deep sense of relief at being alive and concern for what hardships he faced. Roswaal was also relieved that Garfield was alive, but don't understand. Aldono's strength is nowhere near Garfield's. Of course, Garfield's mind still has a lot of room for improvement. So it's possible that he was attacked mentally, and his opponent took advantage of that weakness. Weakness? It's so weird trying to talk like Roz. With Garf, that is the most likely explanation. He is so gentle-hearted. Kindness is not something to be condemned for. Even if it is for disciplining oneself, there is no need to choose harsh words deliberately. Hello. I love Klein. You are always like this whenever this sort of thing comes up. In response to Klein's thoughtful words, Frederica gritted her fangs with a complicated expression. The relationship... I'll turn this down a little bit. The relationship began more than 10 years ago. Then Frederica left the sanctuary and began working for Roswaal. But the rift that opened up between them was difficult to reconcile. At first, Frederica looked up to Klein like an older brother and followed him around, calling him Nisama, at all times. However, when Frederica started to grow taller, the relationship changed completely. Roswaal, who knew the circumstances, showed understanding towards Klein and what caused the issue. But Frederica, who was suddenly pushed away, was not convinced. Because of that, she had continued to harbor an intense disdain for him, like a poisonous snake or a scorpion, and it was hard to express anything about it. Huh? Wait, so why was she fucking mad? At first, Frederica looked up to Klein like an older brother and followed him around, calling him Nisama at all times. However, when Frederica started to grow taller, the relationship changed completely. What? Why? In any case, Klein, judging from your attitude, I guess there was a situation where Garfield could not be blamed. What happened? The husk of the divine dragon Volcanica has joined Aldebaran. In response, the Sword Saint Reinhard van Astrea-sama has already set out to subdue it. Expedient. Sword Saint-sama? But if that's the case... Unbelievable. Aldono defeated even Reinhard-kun? To be precise, it would be more accurate to say that they have been constrained. Correction. In addition, various problems are repeatedly emerging in the royal capital, Master. We urgently request your assistance. Proposal. Oh shit. At Klein's words, Roswaal narrowed his eyes and sank deep into thought. Frederica's emerald green eyes were wide open with shock, staring, unable to process the overwhelming torrent of information, and Roswaal shared the same thoughts, more or less. The difference between her and him was that while she was understandably dumbfounded by the deluge of information, even though he was feeling the same, Roswaal still had a choice to make. In other words, would this not Would this not be the appropriate time to fulfill his promise with Subaru? Before Subaru was officially knighted, after the situation surrounding the sanctuary had settled, Roswaal told Subaru his thoughts and stance. If Natsuki Subaru vowed to continue picking up all the pieces, Roswaal would resolve to take measures to make him start over if he were to lose anything in the future. That meant burning everything he did not wish to lose and the subsequent abandoning of the world in which his subjective self currently lived. With Priscilla-sama, it was a tricky decision. It was difficult to decide whether or not to include Priscilla in what Subaru considered to be everything. However, Roswaal decided that the death of Priscilla, a preeminent political rival, would be a tailwind for Emilia, who wanted to win the royal selection, and therefore decided that her death was not covered by that contract. Furthermore, he did not think that Priscilla's death, based on what he knew, should be overturned. Priscilla Burial's death was the result of her own choices. Dude. Oof. Unless the individual was indispensable to Roswaal's objectives, he would not deny that choice. But Subaru's current situation appeared to be dire. According to Klein, it would seem that there had been no severe casualties, but considering Al's situation, it was only a matter of time before something happened. If something was going to happen sooner or later, then Subaru should be made to start anew, given how things were progressing. If it were required to do so, Roswaal would do it. However, Beatrice. Roswaal held a glimmer of hope for Beatrice, who had been taken captive alongside Subaru. It was not because Beatrice was a great spirit who had mastered the yin attribute, nor because she was an unparalleled being created by Echidna, the Witch of Greed, the greatest magician in the world, nor because she would protect Subaru with her strong feelings of determination and resolve as his contracted spirit. For Roswaal, it was an extremely perplexing and difficult emotion to process, but there was no bias for it. Roswaal wanted to believe in Beatrice. He could not help but feel that way. Margrave-sama, I most graciously ask for your help. It was not Frederica or Klein who spoke. Schultz, who had been present in the mansion's reception room at the meeting to discuss the future of the Burial domain, interjected. When Klein appeared after using compression to teleport, Schultz repeatedly exclaimed, "Huh?" and "Ah!" in surprise at his report. But now, the child who had just spoken to Roswaal appeared to have lost much of his previous weakness. No, it had been completely hidden. People would call that hidden, untouchable mask either courage or determination. I apologize on behalf of Al-sama for what he has done. Furthermore, I implore you not to allow Al-sama to do any further harmful behavior. Schultz-sama, I will be fine. Everyone at the mansion will help for Priscilla-sama's sake. So please, I beg you. Schultz bowed his head deeply. And Frederica looked at Schultz's trembling shoulders. Then turned her gaze to Roswaal. In her eyes, there was a plea for him to accept Schultz's wish and a desire to help him, but if I'm to act upon Schultz-kun's wishes to the fullest, we can't leave Frederica behind. Especially if Aldono has the divine dragon with him. Master, what do you mean by that? I will tend to that. Volunteer. Frederica frowned, perplexed about her connection to the divine dragon. But before she could ask for an answer to her doubts, Klein spoke up. Frederica found herself confused by what he meant, but Roswaal was not. Klein's words and meaning had a meaning beyond their surface meaning. Klein thought that no matter how many words he used, Roswaal would not change his decision. Seeing Roswaal's gaze, Klein slightly relaxed his lips and spoke. I was captivated by a soul so dazzling that I was moved to no longer be a bystander. Jealousy. So he spoke. This guy. It seems like he's unable to go back. This guy. It seems like he's able to go back to a time gone by. But it don't seem to go very far back though. As soon as those words left Ramji's mouth, the room was swept over by a silence that contained all the various conceived thoughts in that moment. Amelia's beautiful gem-like eyes opened wide, while Rem's eyes, sparkling like the surface of a clear lake, blinked rapidly. Meanwhile, it was not hard to tell that Ram was clearly puzzled, as Meili tilted her head while playing with her braids. "I don't really get what you're saying at all," she muttered, an impression similar to Amelia's. If Klein had been there, someone might have been able to react more calmly to Ramji's report, but Klein, who had just brought Rem and Ram, had been requested to meet Roswaal and the others, so they could not see his response. Still, not having to hear the topic whilst Roswaal was present alongside the others might have been a blessing in disguise. "Turning back time, that's return by death." Subaru muttered those words, folding his arms as Petra's voice faintly trembled beside him. Petra looked up at him with those words, and had no room left within her. Sorry. God. Oh, this is getting so fucking interesting. My brain is trembling. And had no room. Had no room left to let her heart flutter at her beloved for having reached the same conclusion she had. After one clash with him, Ramji surmised that Al was utilizing an authority outside of the norm. He managed to hold off Garfield and Ezo at the Theses Watchtower, fought bravely against Reinhardt at the Auguria Sand Dunes, albeit with the help of the Divine Dragon, and with just 3 people broke through the 500-man felt camp led by Ramji, and finally took Roy Alfard of Gluttony from the royal capital, even evading the unrestrained, enraged Amelia in the process. That was for all of the mindset and grave sins Al perpetrated. The dots finally began to connect as it all started coming together. It was possible that Al, the same as Subaru, could wield return by death. Al's a guy from another world just like me, so there's a considerable chance he's awakened to a similar pattern as me. I mean, in isekai stories, that type of pattern's a given. Why didn't I think of this? I'm beyond stupid! Then, as expected, Al-san is the same as Subaru. Yeah, there's a high chance of that. No, maybe it's a leap ability similar to mine, just a type that's more user-friendly. There's a possibility. That's to say, the real pleasure and fun often comes from seeing the difference between isekai powers and figuring out that they aren't exactly the same as one another. You're betting your life, so who cares about cliches or the real pleasure? The important thing is we've discovered one of Al-san's secrets, so what are we going to do about it? Yes, that's exactly right. But I've unraveled a bunch of things. If that's really the case, then maybe he could sneak past Reinhardt and set traps for him and stuff. Could he? Like, actually? Is return by death enough to do something about Reinhardt? Wouldn't you need to die like 100 times? Oh, wow. Now that Al was suspected of being a user of some other sort of time leap ability, Subaru held his head in frustration. Honestly, Petra did not hold the Sword Saint Reinhardt van Estrella as utterly high up in an opinion as her surrounders did. Maybe it was because she had not met him in person. But if he truly was so strong as she had heard he was, then carrying out feats to match that did not seem astounding or astonishing. Rather, the person that took on enemies stronger than himself produced results that surpassed expectations. And the one who took on those who held power greater than theirs with all they could muster was Subaru. Petra thought he was very cool. That was why Petra was very disheartened to see Subaru estimate himself below Reinhardt. She wanted him to puff out his chest and say how cool he was. That said, if too many people became aware of Subaru's greatness, then that could result in another potential problem. If you guys are enjoying the video by far, this is the 20-minute mark. Leave a like, subscribe, share with your homies. Anyway. Well, with me, Emilia-ne-sama and Rem-ne-sama, alongside Beatrice-chan and Patras-chan, I think we've got a flawless lineup for now. Even if someone were to realize Subaru's charm a bit late and try to cut in, they had already formed an impregnable enclosure that simply could not be, why am I reading this in her voice? That could not be penetrated, and gave Petra confidence. Presently, her concern was Subaru's over-kindliness and the possibility that he might have shown some bias to the other side. But even so, he trusted Emilia, He trusted Emilia would remain in his #1 spot, although that was also the one thing that gave Petra considerable worries. In any case, if Ram-san is sane and doesn't have tunnel vision, then this is troublesome indeed. I care a lot about that last case, so your understanding helps. That's how Aldebaran managed to break through, even our encirclement. And Emilia's being invested in the royal capital was also likely thanks to the guy's authority.
I apologize. I still don't really understand.
As for Ram and Ramji, these particularly sharp too, they seemed ready to progress the conversation swiftly. Emilia put a stop to that. At Emilia's side, Rem cutely nodded.
Feel the same as Emilia-sama. Turning back time, was it? Ne-sama, what does that mean?
That's right. Ram-sama didn't sufficiently explain matters to you, Rem. Who? Oh yeah, because she just woke up. I forgot. Who have just woken up and aren't yourself yet. Take a look at this. Need some water. Need some water. And I like just brush my teeth, so my mouth is kind of like, you know, like when you brush your teeth and like your mouth feels kind of like dried out a little bit. Yeah. Anyway. All right. So like as far as where we are right now, people are essentially understanding the gravity of the situation. Roswell is seeing if he should get involved or if he should start like offing people. Like if he were to start, oh my god, if he were to start offing people, like Subaru's not going to be able to do anything about it, like, because it's too far back. And the goal for today is to get caught up, if not just get to chapter 40, because I definitely want to see what the fuck's been up, because like a lot of people have been hyping up what's been happening, and I'm like very, very much excited for it. And then they're explaining how Al has like an authority similar to return by death. And again, it's so interesting because this is a the Subaru that is in Petra's mind is a Subaru that does not have his full amount of development. So it does make the progression of the story a lot more interesting in her eyes, and I'm just curious what the fuck's gonna happen next. So, let's see, where am I? Oh.
That's a gold coin?
Rem stepped forward softly, showing Emilia and Rem the gold coin placed in her hand. The gold coin was engraved with the image of the famed divine dragon Volcanica, and gripping that coin tightly, after she had flaunted it to Emilia and the others, Rem flipped her hand and let the gold coin fall. Watching the arc it drew as it fell to the floor, Petra understood Ram's intent. The gold coin hitting the floor would serve as a metaphor of the advantages of time loop.
Watch out! Honestly, Ram, you can be such a clumsy scatterbrain. Ne-sama is sometimes unexpectedly careless. That's also part of her charm.
Oh, I like how, I missed this. But before the gold coin could hit the floor, Emilia, moving swiftly, picked it up. She returned the coin to Ram, as Rem said something somewhere in the midpoint between comforting and encouraging. The expression on Ram's face after she retrieved the gold coin was full of meaning. Hey, wasn't Ram trying to show that it falls if you didn't know that it would... Wait. Hey, wasn't Ram trying to show that it falls if you didn't know it would, but if you had known it was going to fall, you could stop it? Oh, okay. Like, yeah, sure, very simple, but the fact that Subaru immediately picked up on that and that was like the intent, my little small smooth brain, crazy word.
Probably, but this works out. Let's leave the explaining to Ramne-sama. There's no time to be all content chatting with Amelia-ne-sama and Ram-ne-sama. She felt a bit bad for leaving it to Ram, but while Amelia and Rem were still catching up, Petra shifted to the next issue. She racked her brain on how to really deal with Al. She wanted a bit more details on whatever Al's authority was. Just if it turned out they could refute Subaru's earlier speculation. Petra-chan, are you okay? Meili-chan.
While Ram and Ramji were focused on explaining things to Amelia and Rem, it was Meili who rather unexpectedly called out to Petra. Meili too was on the meager side of understanding the concept of a time leap, but she prioritized Petra's well-being rather than knowing Al's authority. Reaching her hand out gently, she touched Petra's cheek and murmured,
"So warm. We've been running in a rush around non-stop since leaving the tower, so I haven't brought it up yet. But I know you read a book in the tower, Petra-chan, okay?" "Yeah, that's true. I'd appreciate it if you keep quiet to Amelia-ne-sama and the others." "You're keeping quiet because you don't want to worry the others, right?" "Yes, of course."
Petra firmly clasped Meili's hands. And I'm glad to see that Meili is becoming like a better character and showcasing like her good side. And I find that that's super interesting about Subaru because he tends to always find the good in people even when they can't see the good in themselves, nor would they have like the ability to try and find any good within themselves. And you can say that his hero complex fucks him over a lot in the long term. Well, not in the long term, but just fucks him over a lot. I'd say that in the long term, it helps him because, God, he's such an dude. He is a perfectly imperfect character, full of flaws, riddled with flaws. Yet, it's his flaws that help us understand him as a person to the extent that we do now, and like. The fact that we can see how Subaru's influence, even before finishing Arc 4, like that same Subaru could impact Petra the way that she does. And honestly, I can see how this could have some negative influences as well because this is before, ooh, gotcha, bitch. This is before he learned to love, or not love to learn love himself, but learn to not have to throw his life away. So like we're gonna see how things progress, but so far this has been really interesting. That had been on her forehead with both her hands. Just as Meili had said, Petra probably did have a bit of a fever, although rather than poor physical shape, she thought it was a fever from her brain overthinking. Fair. As it was, she already had a lot on her mind, and now it felt like her little brain was now also in charge of dealing with Subaru's thoughts and emotions as well. Maybe it was because of how deeply she cared, but just reading the Book of the Dead of the soul person of Subaru had left her like this. Ezo, who had read more than 10 of them, had to be completely off the rails. And as for the one who had built the Grand Library, Flugel, who had probably designed and built it so that only such lunatics could handle it, he had to be completely out of his mind. He was unsure of Sorry, chat. He was surely the type to assume if he could do it, then anyone could.
That kind of thinking that truly irritated Petra like nothing else, for better or worse. But at the same time, Petra also thought this. If not for that great library, there were so many things she would have gone her whole life without ever knowing. And among the things she had come to know, there were definitely things she wanted to know. So long as the flame within her heart continued to burn, Petra did not want to stop. Even when all was said and done, her mind was still seething. And so, I've been thinking. Thinking? About what? If what Ramji said is right, and Alsan's authority is what I think it is, then... Petra? As Petra lowered her eyes and pressed a finger to her pale lips, Meili and Subaru leaned in toward her. The two of them could not see nor recognize each other, yet their puzzled reactions were so matching that Petra almost laughed at the comicality. Then she spoke. What she said was, I think I might know Alsan's weak point. Let's see. So, the one who put Reinhardt's mother to sleep was Reinhardt himself? Having hesitated to put that to words, something quite unusual for her, Felt thought bitterly of herself. And that was not because it was a matter concerning Reinhardt. No, in a sense it was. Since their initial meeting, Felt was constantly being thrown off balance by Reinhardt, and regarding incidents involving him, there were many times where she could not pass judgment or make decisions typical of herself. That was influenced by him, continuing to forcibly prevent the results of her decisions, and to take it a step further, was influenced by the fact that he had seen her with a teary face near the loot house at the very beginning. But likely, the greatest factor was that Reinhardt had given up on many things. That was what made Felt hesitate to fully accept Reinhardt. Simultaneously, it was the reason why Reinhardt would never entrust anything to Felt from the bottom of his heart. There was a philosophy of the slums that resided within Felt, a wise saying that went, live strong, no matter where one was born, no matter who one was. The saying believed that a person's spirit could survive no matter what might befall them. When taking that philosophy into consideration, Reinhardt was not living strong. Be it as a lion, as a dragon, or as a human being, Reinhardt was half-hearted. But if part of the reason for that was the truth that Felt had just come to realize. Nah, if that's so, it doesn't add up. However, Felt immediately refuted the hypothesis she had just come up with. With a certain conviction, Felt carefully examined the relationship between Reinhardt and his slumbering mother, Luana Astrea. But, supposing that Reinhardt was aware of the truth, his actions and conduct up to this point would not make coherent sense. Of course, it was not simply that Reinhardt was concealing the truth from Felt, calmly covering up the fact that he was involved with the case of his mother's inability to wake up. Of course, it was not impossible that Reinhardt was concealing the truth. Wow, fuck. Double reading, holy shit. Not a chance. That klutz could never pull off something so shrewd. Was there anybody else in the world besides Felt who could have described Reinhardt like this? Well, those who foisted their ideals and dreams upon the sword saint would surely harbor objections. But the garbage treatment of Reinhardt within the Felt camp had been relatively normalized. The sisters Flam and Graces had known him for a long time, and took advantage of their familiarity to embarrass Reinhardt with their cute sarcasm, and the stray dogs divorced from nations of respect, Gaston, Ratchins, and Camberley, incessantly bombarded Reinhardt with all well-grounded stream of badmouth. Ezo, who frequently interfered with the management of the Estrella family's territories, was often greatly troubled, saying, "How have they managed up until now?" And Ramji, who seemed to not harbor a favorable impression of the Sword Saint, never changed his blunt demeanor towards Reinhardt since the beginning. And of course, that's what's. And of course, the one who who lambasted and insulted Reinhardt the most in this world, besmirching his title of the supposed ideal greatest knight, was none other than Felt. The various words and actions from the camp's individuals, Reinhardt had taken it all. And when taking it, what did he do? He smiled. In a truly joyful manner, he smiled. In those moments alone, it was as if he had not given up on anything at all. Even if that fuckface hides his true feelings, that sort of smile can't be faked. That was Felt's conclusion, and unlike the people who placed their excessive hopes in Reinhardt, it was an idea that could only be produced by someone who saw Reinhardt in such a manner. Hence, besides Felt, the only ones who could talk about Reinhardt in this way were members of her camp, the knights who were Reinhardt's close friends, and I'm tempted to add the fact that he's your kid to the reasons why I think he's incapable of hiding things. Before Felt, as she scratched her head, having been socked in his mug, Heinkel was down on one knee, gripping the sword that had been tossed back to him with a face as pale as can be. Pouring too much strength into his hand gripping the sword, the fingers and hand had turned white, trembling in a rattle. The emotions behind that were neither anger, nor fear, nor sorrow, but they were clearly communicated to Felt by Heinkel's quivering blue eyes regardless. If those emotions were to be expressed in a single word, despair would likely be the most apt. A truth that he could not afford for anyone to discover had been discovered. Such was his unavoidable, inescapable despair. That deeply etched despair bound Heinkel in its entirety, and had driven him into a corner. His figure was so exceedingly wretched that it gave Felt the illusion that Heinkel's very life had been plucked away by despair. But in all likelihood, Heinkel would not die so easily. If his life was one capable of being stolen by a despair that swathed him entirely, it would have happened a long time ago. No. Oh, one sec, chat. Heard some weirdness outside. And it is shot o'clock. Okay. Repeatedly opening and closing his mouth, Heinkel continued to mutter in a voice that formed no words. Narrowing her red eyes at Heinkel's reaction, Felt contemplated the relationship between Reinhardt and the man before her eyes, as the starry sky looked down on them through the gap in the rocks. With her decision to take part in the royal selection, Felt had made Reinhardt her knight. From Felt's perspective, Reinhardt was the strongest knight in the world, known as the Sword Saint. But at the same time, he was a person responsible for separating Felt and Ramji, and who furthermore was a loathsome individual who annoyed Felt by trying to refine her and make her wear dresses and shoes with high heels. Since that impression existed within Felt, she had never made any effort to pry into Reinhardt's circumstances, but she came to hear about them whether she liked it or not. About how Reinhardt was treated by the REZEROWEB family, and how he was perceived by society. What arose especially frequently in conversation were rumors surrounding the death of the previous generation's sword saint, Theresia van Astrea, and the circumstances leading to the official recognition of Reinhardt as the Sword Saint after inheriting the divine protection of the Sword Saint, those being the incident when he was 8 years old, where he stopped the invasion of the kingdom plotted by a malevolent of 3 countries. Wait, a Machiavellian?
of sorry, of the three countries. In the wait, where am I? Of the three countries. Oh, and the unerasable stain of his complete obedience to Heinkel Astrea in the years that followed, persisting until around the time he joined the Guard. Reinhardt did not speak much on any of these, and Feld had not questioned him about them either, but it now gave her a strong feeling of unease. The most extreme idea being that Reinhardt was at one point completely obedient to Heinkel. If that was the truth, then what exactly was Heinkel fighting so hard for? Feld had not investigated Reinhardt, but in order to grasp the circumstances regarding the power held by the head of the Astrea family, she had investigated Heinkel. We got a lot more. Oh yeah, we're almost done. Heinkel had quite a poor reputation, but most of it was about his failures as a knight and as a father. And everything Heinkel had tried to forcibly accomplish using the name of the Astrea family was entirely in an attempt to gain the means to awaken the slumbering Luana. She would not describe him as living humbly, but he was far removed from the common luxuries of nobility, and had made curtailments in most phases of his lifestyle so that he could devote everything to waking his wife. That was the impression of him that she got from the numerical figures. Holy shit. But if you really had Reinhardt's complete obedience, you could have done anything you wanted. In both fame and might, there existed nobody in the kingdom who exceeded Reinhardt. I love that we're getting so much more lore and information about the Astreas in this. Sorry. He might have had the integrity to deem it unacceptable to ever use Reinhardt for his own purpose, but not if Heinkel was anything like the rumors suggested. If the rumors about Heinkel were true, he could have used Reinhardt's fame, might, or whatever else was required to entirely skip the process of going out to locations by himself, negotiating directly with the other side, and resorting to forcing his way through swordsmanship if that proved insufficient. Instead, he did his best to avoid involvement with Reinhardt, and persisted with the hang-up to awaken his slumbering wife through his own efforts. But why? If his wife was more important to him than anything else, then the scales would not tip no matter what was placed on the other side. That was only so long as something equally weighty was not placed there. In that case, your approach to what's important to you is what too damn twisted. That instant, the cowering Heinkel grit his teeth, and a light dashed. Feeling the upsurge of swirly aura and a gust of wind, Felt understood that what had appeared as a flash was an attack of Heinkel's sword, unsheathed in the blink of an eye, whose chilly point was now fastened to her neck. Stop going on and on about what's none of your damn business. On. I'll say this now, but don't move a fucking muscle. With his eyes bloodshot and spittle foaming at the corners of his mouth, Heinkel's shout caused Felt to bite the inside of her cheek, limiting her own blunder of excessively pressing it. Unlike earlier, when she had hit him back, when it was clearly just a threat, the current aura being emitted from Heinkel was charged with a definite intent to kill. Holy shit. She understood that the source of that intent was neither hatred nor indignation, but rather a certain kind of defensive instinct. But that was exactly why she realized she had drawn out too far troublesome emotions from him. As tension ran through Felt's entire body, Heinkel's blue eyes violently trembled before her. This is my problem. I can't stand it when outsiders delve into it without a shred of reserve. Much less when it's a brat like you. I won't let you learn about any more of this.
More? So you're saying there's still something else?
Shut the fuck up!
Catching on to something at the end of Heinkel's words, Belt unconsciously blurted that out. Right after she had once again triggered a violent tremor in Heinkel's expression, he erupted. Then, the tip of the sword was drawn back, but for a moment before accelerating, and it thrust forward a step further. It happened the instant before he could come to pass. I'm begging you, please don't do anything to provoke the old man. A figure swooped down, and in its hand was a stone sword with a stone dab. It had mercilessly struck the temporal region of the kneeling Heinkel, causing the latter to fall flat onto the ground. As Heinkel fell over, his eyes rolled to the back of his head. Standing beside him and shrugged his shoulders in exasperation was Aldebaran, who had intervened when the situation grew perilous. And in response to Aldebaran's entrance, Belle softly snorted her nose. Bastard, you were just watching until I was in serious danger, weren't you? Though, you were also just talking to the old man with a hunch that I was keeping an eye out to make sure you didn't carelessly get yourself killed, Belchan. That ain't a cute way of conducting yourself. After all, I absolutely hate being called cute. Sticking her tongue out with a bleh, Belt gave Aldebaran no thanks whatsoever for being saved. Only, checking to see that the collapsed Heinkel had not died, she sighed. From Heinkel's last few words there, it seemed like there was still something else with Reinhardt. He was the sword saint, seemingly the reason behind his mother's slumber, and something else on top of that, which Heinkel was hiding. Feels like I'd be... Wait. Feels like it'd be irresponsible to say I won't ask anything until he wakes up. Well, that's a fine declaration of your intent, but do you understand the situation? From what you say, you've got no intention of harming me. And once you've finished everything for your objective, you'll let the royal selection resume, yeah? I think it'd be best if you were defeated. But for now, whether you win or lose, the things I've gotta do from here on out are the same. Can't argue with that. As Aldebaran lightheartedly waved his right hand, Belt snorted once more, taking the sword still clutched tight in Heinkel's grip. She aligned the tip with its scabbard and sheathed it. The moment before it fully returned to its sheath, the blade of the sword inscribed Astrea shimmered in a manner that appeared excessively merciless and cold to Felt's eyes, irritating her all the more. The fuck? What the fuck you saying fuck Reinhardt for? Oh my god. Trip over Legos in the dark? Sheesh! Reinhardt, the big gay. Reinhardt is second goat after Subaru. I love Reinhardt. Reinhardt's the goat. Go to goats. Yeah, like, okay. So, lots of interesting information here. We are going to read the beginning of the next chapter, which is Scorched by the Sun. Alright, so if you guys were enjoying the video by far, the live reading, then leave a like, my boys. Don't forget. If you guys like it that much, share it with your homies. Let them pookies know that your boy Zero does light novel readings, or web novel readings. And we are slowly... Oh, wait, damn! What effort doth shatter the heart? Damn. We're getting close. We're on 38 now. So I'm gonna read the first passage, and then we're gonna wrap it up, and then we're gonna just start reading the next chapter anyway. So, let's see. So, Arc 9, Chapter 38. Scorched by the Sun. We will read one passage. In other words, if this was not a gold coin, but a full-powered attack by Garth, Emilia-sama, who would already know what Garth was going to do, could easily avoid his very obvious attack, then counterattack and leave him crying and groaning. I see. So that's what you mean? But wait! It would be bad to make Garfield cry. I would rather find a way to befriend Garfield instead. Aw, Emilia's so cute. If so, you would not have to fight back because if Emilia-sama can just keep a cool facade and effortlessly avoid Garth's attacks, eventually Garth's mind would break and the matter would be settled amicably. Then that is reassuring. Reassuring? Really? Even though it would break his mind? Emilia said that with a big question mark over her head as Rem handed her back the gold coin. At that moment, in her mind, Garth was too busy crying like a child or collapsing to his knees in despair. Rem, who had taken over the role of explaining Aldebaran's authority for Ram, was relieved to hear that she had managed to give a brief explanatory overview of Aldebaran's authority, turning back time. You're amazing, Rem. You did a great job of getting Emilia-sama to understand. Happy to be able to help, Ne-sama. Even though Garth had to be sacrificed, I love the little quips. If all it takes is for him to cry and be depressed to keep things going, Garth would happily endure it. It sounds like he's sleeping peacefully, so Ram will have to go and visit him later. Yes, that's right. Garth would be delighted to have Ne-sama visit him. Seeing Ram shrug her thin shoulders dismissively in exasperation, a complicated, bitter feeling ran through Ram's heart. Alright. This has been your boy Zero, aka Black Natsuki Subaru! I'm gonna catch you on the next one. So, make sure that you stay bricked up and make sure those notifications are on so when I go live, you see that premiere, we're gonna be in there together. Till next time, peace.